Hi everyone, it's Stephanie, and today I have a video to share that features the August 2013 Simon Says Stamp card kit. For my card, I decided to go a little bit different and have some fun with this new exclusive stencil that comes in the kit called the Moroccan Stencil. It's an exclusive Simon Says Stamp product, and what I've done is I've just taken the edge of the stencil and traced along a piece of post-it note tape to cut out a design similar to what the edge looks like, so that I can go ahead and adhere it on top of the stencil like I've done just here. Because my plan is to use the stencil as to do some distress inking over some white cardstock, and I just want to use that edge piece to create a cool pattern effect, and I don't want to actually use the inside of the stencil area. So I just put the post-it note on there to cover it up so that I don't have any of the hole showing through and causing it not to do the effect that I want it to do. So I just was practicing a little bit before this, so you can see I already have some ink there on that piece of stencil. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the Nina White cardstock that I have there, and I'm going to use some distress ink colors. Before I start though, I'm just going to score the card base just so I know exactly how far up I can go. I'm not going to fold it, I just want to leave it open. And then I end up not even using this full piece. My original plan was to completely do all of the inking on the card base and keep it as is, but I end up cutting that down later in the video, which you'll see. But I've just scored it so I could see the top of where the card would be. And now I'm just adding a light pencil line just to get an idea of where I want to start the stencil imaging. And that's also something that I ended up changing. I thought I would like to just kind of graduate into the white and then leave the top of the inked piece white, but I ended up changing my mind and inking the entire piece. But you'll see that as we come further into the video. So what I'm doing is I'm just positioning my stencil onto the piece of cardstock, and I'm just trying to line it up so that the edges of the stencil kind of have the same design, and I'm just using the excess post-it note tape there to adhere that down to my craft mat. And then I'm just taking my distress inking tool and some Pumice Stone distress ink, and I'm just going to go ahead and lightly pull up from the stencil area, the white post-it note, and just kind of pull the ink up onto the card base. And what's going to happen is that design pattern on the edge of that stencil is going to end up not being inked because it's masked over there. So when I peel this off, you're going to see that great design there with the gray colored ink. And then, so my plan is to just kind of continue on down this piece of card base. And I'm going to also be using two more additional colors. I'm going to be using the peacock feathers as well as the evergreen bough. And I'm just going to go ahead and just keep positioning this piece here so that it's kind of the same, so that I kind of have it lined up the same, because I want to keep the design consistent as I work my way down the card. And then I'm just going to graduate to the evergreen bough, which is more of a greeny color that I thought would blend nicely with the Pumice Stone. And then once I finish with I'm going to do a couple rows of the evergreen. And my plan is to just kind of do a little bit lighter at the top and then a little bit darker at the bottom. And then that way, as I shift the piece down, you're going to still see, even though it's the same color, you're still going to see the pattern show through even when I switch down to the below piece and still keep using that evergreen bough color. And then, so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of, as I pull the distress inking tool up, I'm just kind of getting a little bit less pressure on my hand as I get near the gray, just so that it's not as dark as I get to that area, just because I want to keep those edges defined as much as I can with the ink still blending together. So I'm just going to speed it up here so you can see what I'm doing. So now you see I did 2 rows of the evergreen and my stencil kept shifting there, so you just got to kind of hang on tight to it there. And now I've switched over to the peacock feathers, and you can see this cool pattern effect that I'm getting by just keep shifting this stencil down and adding those the different rows of the color. So I have 3 rows of the peacock, and then I have 2 of the evergreen bough, and then 1 of the Pumice Stone. And now what I'm doing is I'm just taking that distress inking tool and I'm sliding it up through all of the colors so that I can get all of those colors to completely blend together and just kind of make it completely look uniform. And you can see here now, like I mentioned earlier, I ended up deciding that I wanted the Pumice Stone to go higher up onto the card base. So I just went ahead and added that stencil at the top and added some more. So now I have the whole piece completely finished, and I've completely blended the colors to where I wanted them. So I decided I didn't want to use the whole base, so I just cut down a 2-inch strip of it, and I'm just going to use that on my card base, along with this new exclusive stamp set that comes in the kit. So my plan is to use the You Make stamp, and then My Heart Happy is going to go on to the tilted banner die. That is also an exclusive product from Simon Says Stamp. And I decided to go ahead and stamp the You Make is going to go directly onto the stamped background piece, but the My Heart Happy I wanted to go on this banner here so that I can adhere it directly onto that piece over a die cut heart. So that's my plan, is to just take one of the heart dies from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm just going to put that right onto that inked piece and die cut it directly out of that so that there's an opening in there. And then my plan is to use the wood grain cardstock that comes in the kit. I don't know if you can see the texture there, but it's got a really great texture, and I love using it as a white card base just because it adds a little bit of something to an otherwise plain white note card. So I'm just going to go ahead and score that so it's a top folding card. And then what my plan is I'm just going to put some foam adhesive onto the stamped piece there, the inked piece there, and then I'm going to adhere that directly onto that white card base, and I'm just going to kind of adhere it off to the left hand side there, just because I just kind of like having it a little bit off center. So I'm just kind of playing around with it. I didn't know if I wanted it to be on the full card or if I wanted it to just kind of be a little bit higher than the card base. So I end up deciding to go ahead and do it a little bit higher up, so I'm going to end up trimming some of that gray off at the top there. And then the You Make stamped is the other part that I'm going to use for the sentiment, and I just wanted that directly onto the stamped piece. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp that just with black VersaFine ink directly right above the heart there, right into that stamped area. I kind of liked it there because it blends into the background a little bit and just kind of still lets that fun pattern, inking pattern that we've done, take center stage on the card, as well as the banner going over the open cut heart there. So now you can see I've put dimensional adhesive on there, and I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that right to the front. And you can also see I added a fishtail banner edge to the bottom of that banner too, just because I tried it with just the straight edge and it just looked a little bit boring, so I thought this would give it a little bit more fun look to it. And then to finish it off, I'm just going to mimic the softness of the top of the heart there and just go ahead and round the corners of this with a 1/4 inch corner rounder. So just a fun way to use the stencil that comes in the kit and to use the products a little bit differently than you might think you can use them. So I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks so much for watching.